And we're live. Hi, it's Sophia here. Right, folks, I've got something a bit different for tonight. I've got an interview with a fellow YouTuber. I thought I'd play this video to introduce him. Whoops, I just spoilt it there. Yes, this is a video of his reaction to Parler being taken down. So let's have a look.
It's just not the same on Twitter anymore, is it? I mean, since they got rid of all those Nazis and pedophiles, and indeed people who were Nazis and pedophiles, like, you know, the current sitting President of the United States. Yeah, it just doesn't have that level of crazy, that kind of spicy level of crazy that I need as part of my daily routine. So, I mean, where am I going to go to get that kind of thing? Probably going to have to go over to my old friends at Parler.com, Nazi Twitter, yeah. Sydney Powell and Lynn Wood. They've got the real delicious, the delicious news for me. That's what I need to hear. So let's go and have a look, shall we? What the fuck? No, this can't be real. This can't be real! No! Oh, how will I survive? What? I tell you what, I definitely need some music, some appropriately somber music for the occasion. Woo!
Yes, that's right, folks. I have Kevin Logan with me for a good conversation with hopefully plenty of dick jokes, because Kevin is the only person I know who can out dick joke me.
Well, yes, indeed. And clearly, if you're looking at that video, I've got the moves like Jagger, okay?
You didn't hurt yourself when you fell off the chair, did you?
No, I didn't really fall off the chair. I just sort of slumped over the armrest to make it look like I'd fallen over. It's a bit of a tradecraft there, YouTuber tradecraft. God, I'm good at this, aren't I?
That was the same way I fell off my chair when Sargon of Wankard told you that he was a public intellectual. I literally did fall off my chair laughing.
Well, I mean, technically, I think he has some remnant of intellect, and I mean remnant, really. And he is technically allowed out in public, although I believe not within 500 yards of any school ground.
But he does get free access to massage parlours.
He does. He's well, let's just say a connoisseur of the Swindon massage parlour.
Sorry, well, when it started off, haven't we? The thing is, I went over the. I remember the video you did with well, there's a few videos I've seen you do with him. There's the one where it's when he joined UKIP, and
yes,
he's rabbiting on about fucking immigration, and you're watching the football completely disinterested.
Yeah, we chose a bad day to start that because there's the very important game of, I think, Sweden versus like Ghana or something. So in a game I was really, really interested in, obviously. But yeah, the World Cup was on, so I was. To be honest with you, I should just shut myself away when that's on. But if I did that, there'd be less and less of the year I'd be like publicly available for anything, because I'd have to shut down during the cricket and the football and the rugby, and so I'd have maybe, I don't know, 4 days a year where I might be available. So yeah, it was during the World Cup, and he was chatting away. But I think I basically undermined his point straight away by saying they're scientifically illiterate, and he went, "Are they?" Well, yeah, they're like global warming deniers and stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Well, so anyone who was prepared to listen to anything I had to say I'd already kind of ripped a hole in his whole argument straight away. So I thought, after that, I don't really need to listen to him anymore. So I
And
started.
yeah, and then there was the one with the midterm. After the midterms, he comes on and he goes, the radical left have taken over the Democrat Party. Kristi goes, well, how many Justice Democrats got elected? And he went, 8. And it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, that's really taking over the Democrat Party, Carl, isn't it?
yeah, with the 300 plus Congress people or whatever, and 8 is enough. And he could only name one. He could only name AOC. Like he couldn't even name the other squad members, who are generally quite well known themselves. You know, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, and then of course in the middle of that he rage quit.
Yeah, well, yes, indeed, and then came back. Like that was so funny. Me and Christy enjoyed that enormously. That was one of the highlights, I think.
And
Just
then
because
yeah,
he's an idiot who we baited into leaving and then coming back.
and then
Oh God.
and then the last one was him going on about Englishness. I mean, I was good. You know, what the fuck, Carl? You know, cups of tea and village cricket on the village green. Is that it? You know, is that what you would subscribe to English identity?
Yeah, it's fucking gibberish, isn't it? There's no way in which it's a very twee. It's like, I suppose it's the British version of the super patriot bullshit you get in America, where they ascribe ridiculous, sometimes very generic and sometimes very specific traits to a whole nation of people, and they represent basically no one who lives there. They're like a caricature. They don't know one. I don't know any of those fucking, like you say, tea and crumpets and raspberry scones on the village green watching the cricket. Like that's not a thing that exists.
Well, I half expected Nigel Farage to make a speech one time, going, you know, women cycling to evening song on a warm summer's evening, and cricket on the village green, and jam roly poly for tea. You know.
Yeah, that's not an England I've ever
No, that's not
known.
England I've ever fucking known. And
No.
it's
But to be honest, that's the UKIP way, isn't it? That's UKIP are selling an idea of an Englishness that never really existed.
yeah. Well, I hear Keir Starmer's now doing that as well. So
Oh yeah, that guy can blow me. Yeah. He's absolute fucking sellout piece of shit. Yeah.
no, he's going on about. We need to respect the Union Jack and dress smartly. I thought, fuck me. You know, he must have Cole. Mind you, Cole doesn't dress smartly, doesn't he? Does he? I mean,
No.
he turns up to his count in a pair of sweatpants, looking like he's wanking himself.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't quite get what Keir Starmer's trying to do, really, and it's clearly not working because the polls haven't moved in a while. So, like,
No,
I don't see what he's trying to achieve. And if you can't be ahead at this point, given how badly the British government have fucked up everything and how corrupt they are, I mean, move on.
yeah,
I think.
there might be people watching this because obviously, I am sure your audience is very well acquainted with Carl from Swindon, aka
Well, they probably should be at this point. Yes.
yes, aka Sargon of Akkad, aka Creepy Treat Wait Man. But I was gonna say to my audience, if you don't know who Carl Benjamin is, he's the guy who decided to send tweets about rape to Jess Phillips, the Labour MP, who is a survivor of sexual assault.
Yes, but he also owns the greatest suit in the history of the world. So, checkmate.
Is it that suit he appeared at the UKIP press conference in?
No, the one he went to the European Parliament, and it was so saggy. It looked like you know when they get like a weight loss person to like wear an old pair of trousers, and they pull the trousers out a foot. And it's like, oh, he's lost a lot of weight. It was like that, but for weight and height. In Carl's case, it was embarrassing.
I just think anybody who, unless a woman broaches the subject herself, and I don't know any one woman who would, for a man to basically tweet to a survivor of sexual assault about rape is just disturbing to me. It really is. It's absolutely repugnant and despicable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he's disgusting, and then he's joked about it since as well. Like, it's not.
Yeah, he thought it was a joke, and I actually remember the Victoria Derbyshire interview. Um, I actually thought she probably ran to the toilet afterwards to throw up, having to talk to that despicable piece of shit. But I do remember your comment about when he realised he'd lost the argument.
You may remember it. I don't. What
Uh,
did I say? I'm sure it was very funny.
well, there was a bit in it where his body language changed. He was resigned. You could tell he was resigned.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah.
which is one of the few times because I mean Sargon's fucking arrogant as well, and most of these far right fuckwits are.
Yeah.
And I mean, how he's managed. I mean, is he? What was his status with YouTube now? I mean, I know that various channels of his have been demonetized, but he hasn't actually been banned, has he? Like Stefan
No,
Molyneux.
no, he hasn't been banned. Although realistically, if the TOS were ever enforced properly, he would be banned pretty much instantly. He's now onto the fucking Lotus Eaters thing, which is like his new channel, which has got a fraction of the subs he once had on these old channels, and that's I think still monetized for now. But he's just channel hopping to try and stay monetized.
Yeah, but I mean, Twitter stopped people from doing that.
Yeah, but YouTube don't care. YouTube want to be seen to be maybe doing something, but they don't actually give a fuck. Well, Twitter don't either, really. They're all companies, aren't they?
Yeah. Um, but I mean, him and Stefan Molyneux, it's basically they sit in mum's basement all day, intellectually wanking, and thinking that they are intellectuals when they're not.
Oh yeah, they see themselves as kind of professorial, and they don't understand anything. Carl does his history thing, doesn't he, where he'll bring up completely unrelated, non sequitur historical references that he doesn't understand, which is not massively surprising given that it's also he doesn't understand the present world. So the fact that he doesn't understand the ancient world is not surprising, but the fact that he keeps referencing it as if he does is a bit embarrassing.
And the why he keeps coming back to debate Kristi, when every time she takes him apart.
Well, Christie's like, I mean, if I can use a Sherlock Holmes reference, she's the woman, you know, she's the Irene Adler that he just can't seem to get the best of. But yeah, and so it's like the challenge of trying to. He's embarrassed every time, and let's be honest, he wants to fuck her senseless, and he's got no chance.
No. I think he's got mummy issues. I think he sees her as a surrogate mother.
Well, it could be Oedipus then. He could still want to fuck her.
The only thing I'd say is a couple of things. I mean, the thing that Kristi takes him seriously. I mean, I can't take him seriously. That's the thing. And I know she probably does that, out of some sort of respect, thinking that she has to, so that the criticism is that if she did take him seriously, then she get shit for it. But the thing is, I understand what she's doing, but I personally could never take him seriously.
Well, to a degree, you have to take a person seriously to some extent in order to take them on in terms of debate or conversation online. You can't approach it from the perspective of complete disdain because you'll be made to look a fool, and ultimately, all you're doing is presenting a thing online. It's not like a proper debate in any real sense whatsoever. He wants to, any person who engages in that debate wants to appeal to an audience, whoever's listening, whoever will listen in the future, whoever's listening to clips of it on some other channel in the future, whatever. And so you want to look as good as you can. And if you go in there being a sort of snarky, disdainful prick from the very beginning, you look bad, regardless of how much the other person may deserve that treatment. You can't realistically do it, and so you have to engage in that to some degree. And in terms of taking people like Carl seriously, I think it's worth taking them seriously just from the perspective of how dangerous they are, because regardless of how farcical the things they say are, a lot of people, they pander to a lot of people, and they're successful at doing so to some extent. They've both got large-ish audiences, much larger in Tim Pool's case, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
They have an influence way beyond the value of their ideas, so it's worth taking them seriously because they are potentially a very serious threat.
Well, I was going to say that I had this discussion about various people. I think it was about Paul Joseph Watson, actually. Pajama Watson. And by the way, I am the one who I coined that nickname for him. I take credit for that one.
Yeah, go for it, man. It's always worth trying to claim some shit. I'll take your word for it that you genuinely did. But even if you didn't, worth trying to claim it.
Well, no, I remember when it came about. I was writing a blog post. You remember when he said, "Oh, capitalism's brilliant," right? And
he said what? Sorry.
He said capitalism was brilliant.
Oh, I thought you said Castroism. I was about to say, wow, he had a change of heart. Fuck me.
No.
Yeah, so capitalism, yeah.
There was that meme, right?
Yeah.
Well, not long afterwards, he was bitching about Black Friday and about advertising.
Right.
And I sort of thought, you fucking hypocrite, Paul. You say capitalism's brilliant. Well, what do you think? Marketing is it's a product of fucking capitalism.
Yeah, well, they do that thing in the video he did about capitalism. He does the thing that's for me the most dishonest and bullshit argument that exists. It's not capitalism, it's corporatism, which basically gives you a get out of any situation, because anytime capitalism does a good thing, it's capitalism and totally capitalism's credit. Whereas when capitalism does something bad, which is pretty regular, he'll come out and say, no, that's corporatism, even though it's the same companies doing the same thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I suddenly thought, hold on, the guy never fucking goes out, and suddenly, he's always sat in front of that fucking map, which, he's changed the map because, so I think someone did point out to him his old map didn't have New Zealand on it.
Well, that's fair enough. Does New Zealand deserve to be on any maps?
Well, they're very good at rugby.
They are exceptionally good at rugby,
but of course, I'd just like to remind people they are currently not the world champions.
No, that's very true. They are not currently world champions. That would be some country in somewhere. I don't know who. Anyway, moving on.
Oi! You will now pay tribute to the mighty Springbok.
Yeah, no. To be fair, not only were they, I think, clearly the better team in the tournament. By the way, even though I'm English, I'm a Welsh rugby union fan. It's a political thing. Anyway, moving on. So I've got no chance of winning a World Cup realistically. It's just, unfortunately, luck is never on our fucking side. Anyway.
Plus, also, I'd just like to point out that the Springbok have done something that New Zealand haven't done. We've both teams have won the Rugby World Cup 3 times. Yeah. But South Africa have won it on 3 different continents.
True, fair play. Yeah, that is correct. That is true. Yeah, but what I will say is that I took a great deal of pride and joy out of the fact that Siya Kolisi, the captain of South Africa as a black man, is a huge step forward for a nation where during the days of white supremacy, and white supremacy is still a thing in South Africa, let's not beat around the bush, but in terms of it being formalised and legalised in the government and the rest of it, the Springboks were seen as the bastions of white pride, if you will. They were you look back at the old photos and it's 6'4", blonde hair, blue eyed, Aryan super children. It was really, really sickening nonsense. And they were used as a tool of white supremacy for South Africa around the world. And to now see them captained by a black man to success is a glorious thing.
Well, I am South African, so I didn't support the Springbok until I saw Nelson Mandela wear the Springbok shirt.
Yeah, no, that's I think fair enough. I think that it's rare that sports photography ever has the kind of impact that one image did. But the image of him handing the World Cup over to Francois Pienaar, as you got the black man who was formerly in jail, who's now the prime minister, handing it to, like I say, Aryan superchild man, 6'4", blonde hair, blue eye, captain of South Africa. handing the World Cup over as South Africa win it in South Africa just after the end of apartheid is one of the most powerful photography moments, if you understand the context behind it.
Yeah.
Which, for any Americans watching, go and watch the
Film Invictus.
the Matt Damon film Invictus for the full kind of story behind that. Albeit that it's not an entirely truthful telling of the story, but regardless, it's pretty much accurate. For the background to that, 'cause, rugby's not massive in America, you know.
No, I mean, I was living in South Africa at the, well, I wasn't living in South Africa, I was visiting South Africa at the time. And you can't quite quantify. It did heal. You know, people say sport doesn't count for shit. Well, it did heal a lot of. It did heal some wounds. You know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. People who say sport doesn't matter, please tell me anything else where you can get 100,000 people into a stadium.
Yeah.
Don't tell me it doesn't matter. If you can mobilise that level of humanity, if 1 billion people watch the soccer World Cup final, that means something. It's a potential vehicle for change and positivity, as I think we've seen. Like I say, a black man captaining the and not just that, but coming from the slums, from the slums of Johannesburg to captaining the national team and winning is an enormous story. Now, that could happen in a number of other ways. It doesn't have to be sport that necessarily does that, but sport offers that vehicle, and that's an amazingly powerful potential.
What is particularly sad about the 1995? There is there is a sad tinge to the 1995 Rugby World Cup final. Is a lot of the people who participated died early. Jonah Lomo, of course, played for New Zealand. He was only 40 when he died. He was younger than I was.
Yeah, that was fucking mad.
And such a great player. But Chester Williams, who was the only black player playing for South Africa, died of a heart attack just before the last Rugby World Cup.
Well, they didn't live enormously healthy lifestyles, rugby players, because I think it just turned professional, the game, at that point, hadn't it? It was like 92, 93.
No, it was still amateur until after that World Cup.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay, well, there we go. So a lot of those guys still had to have jobs outside of rugby, and there was a lot of hard drinking, and in some cases drugs, let's be honest.
Yeah.
As well as the enormous physical exertion, because rugby's a crazy game.
Yeah.
Like, you see the hits in the NFL, but they're wearing pads.
Yeah.
They do that in rugby consistently.
Yeah.
And you get guys with, I mean, technically with the blood now, they have blood substitutions, but you used to just have guys with blood pissing out of their heads. Just play on.
Oh yeah,
that's not a healthy situation. You're gonna collapse and die, for fuck's sake.
There was an English rugby player called Gav Chilcock. Gav Chilcock, he's a really sweet guy, but if you look at him, he looks like he supports Millwall, right?
Yeah.
He looks like a thug, right?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget during the 80s, right? He cut his head. He was bald, totally bald, right? He cuts his head open, right, in the middle of a rugby match. Goes over to the side. You know, the medical people just rub some cream on it. Goes back onto the pitch. You know, there's stories about, I forgot which player it was, the Lions tour of South Africa in the 70s, which obviously had a lot of protests. But there was one piece of play where someone got hit so hard they had a glass eye. It came out. And there's another story I heard about a French rugby player. I forgot which one. I think it was France against New Zealand. It was a really rough game. Comes back in the changing rooms, and literally, when they took the shorts off, their balls fell out.
Yeah, fuck, man.
You know, it is a really rough sport, and
yeah.
You know, I'll get to a story in a minute, but I wanted to get back to Paul Joseph Watson. No.
Well, I was just, before we move on from rugby injuries, I think my favourite is still the story of Paul Wood, the Warrington. It's rugby league rather than rugby union, but the same basic dynamics work. Who was playing in the grand final of that competition and ruptured a testicle at the 30-minute mark and played on for the rest of the game, and then went to hospital to have his testicle removed. His testicles went from plural to singular, and he just played on.
Yeah.
Mad. I mean, that's the if I ruptured a bollock, I would be on the floor saying, "Take me to a hospital now." I know I don't give a fuck about sport anymore. Just take me to the hospital. My ball it's not working anymore. It's gone. Like, what the fuck? Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
Anyway, so I was going to say, anyway, I was writing this piece about Pudra, and the term pajama Watson came into my head because he never fucking goes out, and I lay claim to that, right? Yeah. I was gonna say about going back to your last conversation with Sargon. There was something you and Kristi didn't pick up on, which I did, right?
Right.
Which was Sargon supposedly, because I mean he sort of got known for being an atheist, didn't he?
Yeah.
And there was one telltale sign about him. Now he said he was whining on about Islam, but he said, I don't care. There was some point made, and he said, I don't care if Christians take over.
Oh, yeah, he's taken the God pill at this point. Yeah, he's he's basically a Christian Fundy at this point. It's pretty embarrassing.
Well, no, because you see, here's the thing, right? I obviously, I grew up as an Orthodox Jew. I have criticisms of all religion, including Buddhism, I'd add, because I know all atheists have got that soft spot for Buddhism. If you go to Sri Lanka, see how the Buddhist majority treat the Tamil minority. Okay,
yeah.
Go to Myanmar, right, which obviously has its own problems at the moment, but there's a Muslim minority there who are persecuted.
Yeah, right. The Rohingya.
Yeah. Okay. So don't say to me that Buddhism's really, Buddhism doesn't do any harm. It does. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But can I just, the person who says the sports of the past was madness, the testicle rupturing story was from like 2012, 2013, 14, something like that.
Yeah.
So that's not in the distant past. That we're not talking Bert Troutman in the past,
I always used to like it. There's that I think it's Graham Gooch. He was in the West Indies, and
yes, there was a cricketer called Graham Gooch. Yeah. That is still funny.
Yeah. He's a West Ham supporter, by the way. Anyways, no.
I knew he was an arsehole. Oh.
Yeah, we'll get on to our football team in a minute.
Your football team, my football team is shit.
I thought you were a Celtic supporter.
Oh, well, I am. They're my Scottish team, but I'm also, for my many, many sins, a Birmingham City fan. We're probably going to get relegated to the third tier of English football. I might have to kill myself in Minecraft. Only in Minecraft.
Yeah, well, I've only have one team, Celtic, and we're not doing so well at the moment. But
no, they're also shit. Brilliant. I'm having a cracking season. Yeah.
Fucking Rangers. And before anyone says, I always get these people who fucking fences who go, Celtic supporters are just as bad as Rangers. No! I've never met a bigot. I've never met a Celtic supporter who's a bigot. Seriously, bigots support Rangers.
I'll put it this way. I've only ever seen one of the two sets of fans give Nazi salutes in the stand, and it wasn't at Celtic Park.
I mean, I will say this: just about every Celtic support I've ever known is politically progressive. There is the exception to the rule, which is, of course, Rod Stewart.
Yeah, but he's a Cockney anyway. Fuck him.
Yeah. Well, I'm South African.
That's even further south. Yeah, correct.
I know. Some people say, how does a mouthy South African Jew end up supporting Celtic? Long story, and I can't be bothered to tell it. Completely lost my train of fucking thought. Thanks, Kev.
Well, Catholics are very much the Jews of Scotland. That's the way I look at it.
Well, yeah. Right. Yeah. We were talking about Carl taking the God pill.
Yeah.
I mean, I've spoken to Dusty Smith about this.
Yeah.
And I think Steve Shives would probably agree as well, because Dusty's cool, right? He's he is
now, yes.
Yeah.
He was a complete dickhead, but he is now, yes.
Well, I don't know about before. I've only known him in the last couple of years, and I mean, I've already interviewed him on his channel actually.
Yeah, no, he's a good dude. Yeah.
Well, it was really surprising because, like, you see his show and he's ranting and ranting and ranting. When you talk to him, he's like really soft and really shy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a good dude. Yeah, yeah.
But
Like,
anyways,
and he literally like runs a
an animal sanctuary.
animal sanctuary now, which is awesome.
Yeah, and he's a vegetarian, and everything. But no, what he said was that basically, I sort of figured it out for myself, but with what happened with Steve Shives, but when the atheists got the better of all the Christian fundies, basically, there was a split. People like T.J. Kirk and Sargon, they're bullies, and they needed a new sort of, subject to bully. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, they moved on because the Christian fundies basically shut up because they were obviously wrong.
Well, yeah, and you see, this is why I say I am an atheist, and I will criticize all religions. Right? I don't make exceptions. Okay. This is the thing, because I always hear from the right wing. With me, it's always like we only ever criticize Christianity. I go, I will criticize Islam if Islam is out of order. Okay, and I have done. Right, I criticize the anti-LGBT protests, which were actually in your area, weren't they?
The what? Sorry.
The anti-LGBT protests outside schools by.
But the Muslims, yes. The one where Jess Phillips. It was actually in Jess Phillips's constituency, which is why she sort of ended up arguing against those people, which is good. She has her turfy moments and stuff, but she's at least in that regard.
You see, I thought the word we got was that she was a bit of a sympathiser with turfs.
Yeah.
But she was interviewed by Mumsnet when she was standing, the brief time she was standing as leader for the leadership. And she said, no, trans women are women. No,
absolutely no. That's why I said turfy moments. I didn't say she was a turf. But she hints, like, I don't know if it's just looseness of talk or whatever, but she will occasionally stray into like women's spaces type language when talking about issues, which is, it's a bit. It's a bit iffy, but I don't think she is a TERF. Clearly, I don't think she's a TERF because she actually helped write the Gender Recognition Act, which was a pretty big step forward for trans people in Britain. So she's not a TERF. She's just imprecise with her use of language. Let's say.
Yeah, I just think it's sad what has happened to the whole atheist thing, because it doesn't help. It seriously doesn't help us argue for reason. If you've got people like T.J. Kirk and fucking Sargon going off on one.
That's why I got into this in the first place. Was in terms of doing YouTube, was that I wanted to take on the rightward lurch, if that makes sense. Because I'd been an observer of YouTube spaces for a long time. Like, if you go to my channel, I set it up in like 2006. I was still at college. I was still at university at the time, and so I've been watching YouTube and the kind of growth of the atheist movement all of that time. And it always used to be like quite a cool thing. And they used to argue, like, even if they were doing so and they didn't necessarily believe in all of the tenets of it, they were arguing for things like women's rights and gay rights because the Christian fundies were against those things, right? So I always thought, it's a relatively progressive group of people. But then again, when they kind of those Christian fundy lolcows sort of moved away because they weren't really getting anywhere with it, they like I say, the rightward lurch was pretty extreme. I didn't expect that at all. To the point where they're now allying, they've gone kind of full circle and now allying themselves with Christian fundamentalist fascists, in essence.
Well, I was going to bring up a few points here. I mean, TJ sunk to a new low when he did it, where he just had a go at Milo Stewart. I mean, what did they do to hurt him? Nothing.
Yeah,
that was just pure and utter bullying. And then he did a response video to Sacha Baron Cohen's speech to the ADL. Now, obviously, I have my issues with the ADL, but
anti-Semite, are you?
Well. No, more the fact that they...
I'm joking.
You know why.
Because you're an anti-Semite, yeah, clearly. Yeah,
Fuck off! No.
I am, of course, joking. The ADL can kind of suck my balls.
The problem with the ADL is, yes, they do stand up against hate in the United States, but if you go to their website, they do have somewhat of a rosy tinted view of Israel's human rights record. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I can understand why they would stand up for the Israeli government. I get it. I mean, it's always the question I have to ask myself: if there's a pogrom, where the fuck am I going to go?
Yeah, look, this is the thing, right? Oh, God, it's sort of a pointless conversation to even have on the internet because nothing positive comes of it. But for me, the distinction I always draw is that I don't criticize the Jews or even the Jewish state. I criticize the actions of the Israeli government or the IDF. That's it.
That's it. That's and that's perfectly acceptable as far as I'm concerned. But I'm just saying, you have to understand. I perfectly sympathise with people who stand up for Palestinian justice because I think the Palestinian people have been shut upon, continuously. I always say to people, go and see what the late great Anthony Bourdain said.
What did he say?
Well, he said that basically the Palestinian people have been shat upon continuously, and it is a crime against humanity.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. But I am saying, as someone who is Jewish,
Are you Jewish? I didn't know that. Oh, you should have told me before.
Yeah,
this is outrageous.
I'm not an anti-Semite. How can I be an anti-Semite if I'm Jewish? Well, actually,
Exactly.
You can be anti-Semitic and be Jewish. I'll explain why in a minute. Fuck. That made me lost my train of thought again. Yeah, you keep doing this to me, Kev.
Well, I distract many women. It's just my natural charisma and charm, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I was going to say, whilst you try and remember what you were saying, it is when you say if there's a pogrom, where am I going to go? Bear in mind that as a white person, you will be allowed to go there. Black Jews won't.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. There's I don't know if you know about this channel on YouTube, the Israel Advocacy Movement, which is...
Oh no, it sounds like cancer, but I don't know.
Well, yeah, basically it's run by this guy called Joseph Cohen, right?
Is he Jewish?
Well, with a name like that, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So so my friend Herschel Cohen. You think he was Jewish? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell him. I'll tell him next time we're at synagogue together.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, he is Jewish, right? And
yeah, no, I guess he was. I was, silly joke.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. The thing is, though, right? He I think he's withdrawn the video now, but he put out a video. Basically, Jackie Walker is, right? Yeah. Right. I'm friends with Jackie, right? He basically because he started doubting her ethnicity. Right?
Oh God!
And that's anti-Semitic in itself. That's what Ben fucking Shapiro does to people like me because, I'm a lefty, I'm LGBTQ. And by the way, you and Kristi are wrong about something. His yarmulke hasn't got bigger. His head has shrunk from all the shit that has come out of his mouth.
Yeah, it's a normal size yarmulke. It's just his head has shrunk. maybe that's it. Maybe he's just such a fucking manlet that a normal size yarmulke on him looks like a fucking, I don't know, a big hat. What's the name of a big hat? Stetson? That's a hat.
Yeah. And I see that he's getting into bed with yet another anti-Semite.
Yes. Yeah, Gina Carano?
Yeah.
Or however the fuck you pronounce it.
But that's not the first time he's done this. He basically defended the Proud Boys after Trump had said, what was it, stand back, wasn't it, and stand by.
Yeah.
And I basically I knew that they were anti-Semitic, and funny enough, Gavin McGuinness, sorry, not Gavin McGuinness. Well, actually, hold on. What is the guy's name who founded the Proud Boys?
Gavin McInnes, yeah.
Oh yeah, it is Gavin McGuinness.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've had a few. He put out a tweet linking to an article about 10 things I hate about motherfucking Jews. Well, if that's not anti-Semitism, then what is?
Well, unless you're specifically talking about Jewish people who fuck mothers, in which case it's a weird niche, but I can understand that. But I don't think that's what he was referring to, was it?
Yeah. Now, anyways, so going back to TJ, he responded to Sacha Baron Cohen giving a speech to the ODL, and I don't know if you've seen that speech, but everything, basically that Sacha Baron Cohen said was right about how, I mean, particularly about the YouTube thing, about how people would watch endlessly Alex Jones videos when before Alex Jones was banned. And I remember that. I remember when I used to have to do like research for video clips to link to in articles, right?
Right.
Within 3 videos I come across an InfoWars video on every fucking political subject.
Right.
That was it at that time.
Yeah.
Because InfoWars just used to spam fucking videos out.
Oh yeah, no, they were. I'll give them a due. They had the algorithm down pat. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were enormously successful at getting. Like Alex Jones had 2 million or whatever it was at the time subscribers. Like he was. Yeah, they did spam out, but they did it in the way that was most kind of advantageous for them.
Yeah.
Which is why I think we'll look back in years yet unborn to the way in which hate was able to spread via these algorithms. And the fact that we took human accountability out of the equation wasn't positive for humans in general.
I was going to say, I saw an article the other day in InfoWars that actually got something correct for once, right? It said leftists want to deprogram MAGA cultists. And I went, yeah, we do. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
no, you're
I'm,
right.
I'm with you. I'd like to deprogram all cultists. Cults aren't good. Yeah.
Well, what about vegans?
I don't think they're all necessarily cultists. There are some people who are like vegans TM. The kind of vegans as a lifestyle thing rather than necessarily as anything else. Those people are cultists, but most vegans are fine.
Well, I was thinking about Joey Carbstrong. I don't know if you've seen any of his videos.
No, I don't think I have. I don't really watch a lot of
he's
vegan YouTube, vegan tube, VTube.
Well, he was involved in gang culture in Melbourne.
Oh, okay.
He ended up going to jail.
Right.
Now, usually people when they go to jail, they find God and get religion. Joey found veganism. And he's been ramming it down everyone's fucking throat ever since.
Right. Well,
Now,
yeah, those people are the kind of preachy, religious vegans can fuck off.
Well, yeah, I mean, the other one is Earthling Ed. He's got a big channel on YouTube. And, I mean, I'm not vegan, but I was thinking about doing some responses because I have certainly defended vegans every time Piers Morgan spits his dummy out about Greggs launching a new vegan product.
Yeah.
He missing the point, but Greggs wouldn't have done it if there wasn't a market for it. Okay, but bottom line here. Okay,
Yeah.
but the thing is with like Earthling Eddie, they're going on about how COVID is down to meat eating.
That's
Well,
wow.
We suspect that COVID came from a wet market in China, but China has very dodgy regulations on food safety. Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
That's,
I think it's far too early to put anything down to it.
Yeah, but you see, what I'm trying to say is, it's a bit, I put that in the same bracket as Kenneth Copeland. You basically, going around, saying whatever, old Jim Baker, selling fucking cures for fucking, bogus cures for COVID.
Yeah, I think there's a certain comparison to be drawn there. I think Copeland's worse because I think
Well,
I, I, I don't know.
Copeland is worse just for one video. The one where he said, "I'm going to blow on you and cure you of COVID."
I think he's
That's
no
a
more
good way of getting COVID, not fucking curing it.
true, but I think he's mostly known now for the video of him laughing at the election result in a maniacal fashion.
Right.
Have you seen that one where he's
No.
going ha ha ha?
Oh, is that the
ha,
one where he
ha,
spins round?
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
yeah. He's a meme now, which is good.
Excuse me. So we have to talk about a few trans things because, well, I'm trans.
Are you? What? You should have told me about this. This is outright.
Yeah.
You're trans and Jewish.
Yeah, I'm trans, and you still haven't asked me, have I had the snit? Thank you for not doing that.
It's none of my fucking business.
Well, exactly. Thank you. Because, like, no, seriously, I'll tell you a story, right? It's happened about 3 or 4 years ago.
Right.
I was going into my local shopping mall, and suddenly someone started shouting my dead name. Now, I ignored it, right? Because I don't respond to it anymore, right? All of a sudden, someone came up to me, and it was someone I had grown up with many years ago, right?
Right.
And they hadn't seen me for about 10, 15 years. And I said, they said, why didn't you respond? I said, because I've had gender reassignment, and that's not my name. And immediately, the first question they asked me is, oh, have you had the operation?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
You know, some people are more fucking obsessed with my genitals than I am.
Yeah, some people are weird. I don't get it.
I mean, so yeah, I was going to talk about Rosa Moron, or better known as Rosa Dorner, but I call her Rosa Moron because she is a fucking moron. Someone who hangs out with Sargon, by the way.
Yeah, not surprising. Not surprising.
I take it you've seen some of her videos.
I have, yeah. I think I've responded to 1 or 2 somewhere along the way.
She's still having a tantrum about Natalie, otherwise known as ContraPoints, featuring a clip of hers in her cringe video.
Well, don't put out cringe then.
Yeah.
It won't happen.
Now, of course, Rose of Dawn is the pound shop version of Blair White.
Indeed.
And you have debated Blair White.
I have, yeah, a long time ago now, but I did.
Yeah, well, we should tell people the circumstances behind this, because it's been the 3rd time you'd arranged to debate her, right? She turned up an hour and a half late.
She did.
And then proceeded to spend half the rest of the time moaning that you'd called her a cunt.
Yes, which I maintain she is.
Well, she is. Can I tell you, as a fellow trans woman, she's a cunt.
Yes. And I'll extend that to Rose of Dawn as well.
Oh yeah, they're both true scum bigots.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, in some ways, they're not the worst. The worst is India Willoughby. I actually came across some. She there's a thing she did on Talk Radio in response to Eddie Izzard,
Right.
wanting to be now referred to by the pronouns as she and her. Right?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Oh, of course, India has to find fault. And within less than 5 minutes, she drops more transphobic tropes in that one space of time than I've heard in any other interview.
All right.
With
What
any
did
turf.
you say then?
Well, she basically said they don't look the part, so I'm not going to refer to them as she and her. She said basically the trans umbrella is too wide. That's typical true scum trope.
Yeah.
Basically, she used the word transvestite. That's a no-no.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. You can tell a lot of them are doing kind of like hipster transness, if that makes sense. Of like, it's our little club, it's our special thing, and you can't come in.
Yeah, the thing is though, Kev, mate, this is nothing new to me.
Yeah.
This used to, I think I've told you on the stream we did back in November, and I forgot to put a link to it down below, but I have put your own social media link, so go search his channel out. We did talk about the Kira Bell case. I told you this actually used to be the norm.
Yeah.
When I first tried to come out in the early noughties, right, I unfortunately ran into one of the original. I would call them one of the original truth-goers, because they really did think it was some sort of VIP club, and I couldn't join.
Yeah, that's the feeling I get from a lot of these people. With someone like Blair, I don't think that's necessarily the case, although she does do transmedicalism. Blair's a slightly different case in that I think she's doing I'm one of the good ones, pay me to lie for you.
She's doing the trans equivalent of the fallacy of the good Jew.
Well, I mean, whatever the trans equivalent of an Uncle Tom is.
Well, yeah, Auntie Thomas here. What I meant by the fallacy of the good Jew is that there were Jews who did support the Nazis, thinking, well, if we're friendly towards them, if we sort of sort of support, give them some support, we won't get the worst of the persecution.
Yeah.
Well, of
yeah,
course,
exactly. Yeah, and to be honest, in the situation of extremity where you're a Jew living in Germany under the Nazis, it obviously, looking back with the hindsight, was never going to work. But at the time, I can understand why that would feel like a thing that you might, like knuckling under might work or something. Like there's a certain kind of logic to it. Whereas I think the situation, whilst it's obviously not great for trans people in the West, it's certainly a great deal better than it was for Jews under Nazi Germany. And I don't think that you need to do this. Like, it doesn't seem like that's an appropriate response at all.
No, but what I'm trying to illustrate is the fact that they seem to think that if they basically slime up to, shall we say, the far right, that the far right are not going to hate them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, I think they're completely fucking wrong, but yeah.
No, I'm not drawing an absolute comparison. What I'm saying is it is the equivalent to that.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think I've got license considering that I'm Jewish as well.
Are you Jewish? When did this happen? What?
Well, you'd have to ask my mum, but she's dead.
Oh well, that turned dark.
Well, if you want to get even darker, she shot herself. Anyways,
Oh, fuck me. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yes.
Trump was acquitted.
Oh, well, there's a fucking surprise.
Yeah. Although seven GOPers did flip, so that's something, I suppose.
7? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is more than I thought there would be, but there we go.
Well, it's not exactly a surprise, is it?
Not really, no.
So that means he can run in 2024. I don't think he will.
I don't know that he'll be alive, man. How much longer can he survive, given his lifestyle and his age?
No, he'll be bankrupt by that point.
Well, but running for office is the perfect way to make money. It made him more money than his actual businesses ever did.
Well, no, did you hear Alex Jones, right? Alex Jones said that Trump is now worth $2 billion. He's lost half his fortune being our president. To which my response is, I'm not sure that's right, Alex, but here's the world's smallest violin, if it's true. I mean, the thing people need to remember of Alex Jones is just about everything he says is a fucking lie.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah.
So having said that, right, I remember there was that video of him saying that Trump commanded him to lead the Stop the Steal rally onto Capitol Hill, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of thought, and he's been bragging about how he was one of the people who funded the riot.
Yeah.
And I kind of think, well, okay, I know that's bullshit, but the FBI should pay him a visit nonetheless. They should take it on face value.
Yeah. Well, they absolutely should. Especially given the fact that he's now associating himself with like Nick Fuentes and Ali Alexander and various other people who are actively engaged in seditious activities.
Yeah.
They should take very, very clear notice of people like
They
Alex Jones.
they haven't caught up with Ali Alexander, have they?
No, he's still. I don't know if
He,
he's
he
technically
was.
on the run, but
Yeah.
he's still been streaming. So surely they can actually get hold of him. But I don't know.
Well, he's busy building his MAGA city, isn't he?
Yeah, he wants to build a 10 million people city in Florida. Yeah, good luck with that.
Well, there's already tons of those. They call it they're old age pensioner fucking villages, aren't they?
Well, who else is going to support? He's going to be a mixture of OAPs and like weird alt-right to Nazi types. Like, so the average age will probably be about the normal, but it'll be 20-year-olds and 70-year-olds.
Did you see that video from last? I think it was last year or the year before. There was an old age person in a golf buggy with a vote by I think it was Democrat sign on, and basically some Trump's another old age pensioner who was a resident in one of these places comes up to them and basically starts getting quite aggressive with them about how they shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what Gina Carano says about she's she's talking about how the neighbours of Jews were beating up Jews, which is true. That did happen, right, during Nazi Germany. But the thing I was thinking, if you're making a comparison, Gina Hun, it's more likely the people who support the GOP will beat up Democrats.
Oh, much more so, yeah, absolutely. And not just that, but you know who does get beaten up all the time? Trade unionists by the police.
Yeah.
If it's any side beating up the other side and trying to silence them and take their rights, it's the right trying to take away the rights of working class organisations.
Also, Britain First, or was it Tommy Robinson, one of the two, they led a gang. Unite had a protest. I forgot when this was. I think it was 2017, maybe. They basically waded in. Peaceful protest by Unite. It doesn't fucking surprise me. We saw that. That's the first sign of fascism. The other one, of course, was when those UKIP members, after they'd been to some demo, I forgot what demo it was, they then went and stormed a socialist bookshop in London.
Yeah, well, they do this all the time. Yeah, if you remember, they had the Occupy London Stock Exchange back in the day.
Yep, 10 years ago that was.
Yeah, and at that point, burgeoning EDL had a march in London, and Tommy and his crew decided to march and disrupt that. Even though, in theory, if the rhetoric of the "we're against the corrupt elite," blah 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 blah, they would be going there to march in solidarity with the Occupy Occupy London Stock Exchange, but they didn't. They went there to try and disrupt it, and it was only because there were people there to defend themselves, and they did. They put up barricades and stuff because the police weren't going to do anything again, because the police aren't there to protect or serve anyone of the people. They're there to protect and serve the people inside the stock exchange.
When Owen Jones was beaten up by far right thugs, I just thought they're beating up one person who actually speaks up for the working classes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who speaks up for social justice and equality, who wants a better life for those who've been, shat upon.
Yeah.
That was the fucking irony.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they don't, because they don't give a fuck, do they?
Yeah.
They don't care for a second about any of those things. They care about attacking Muslims. They care about attacking leftists. They're like the brown shirts, but even more pathetic, because they don't really have an organisation that they're being street thugs for.
Yeah.
Like the Nazis were a political force. Who are UKIP? Oh, no, not UKIP, I suppose. But who are the EDL, or who were the EDL's political force? They were just violent urban ramblers.
Well, in some ways, UKIP has become sort of the political wing of the EDL, considering the kind of members they now have.
Well, the Conservative Party have become a lot like the BNP, for instance. If you look back at the BNP's manifestos back in the day, a lot of those policies are now being taken up by the Conservatives, including trying to pay immigrants to go away. And I don't know if you saw today, there's been a do not resuscitate order placed on people with learning disabilities and COVID. So we're just doing eugenics now. The British government are just doing eugenics.
I didn't see that. I need to check that out, actually. That's pretty worrying.
Yeah, I tweeted it out. I'll hook you in on Twitter now. You are at Christina something or other.
Sophia both or something.
Sophia. For some reason, I always call you by your fucking middle name, and it's so because I'm dense, I think. Anyway, there you go. I've hooked you into the thing now.
I was gonna say, talking about people getting to the bed with the far right, TERFs.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to happen. I see the way things were going. Kathleen, I remember when Kathleen Newman had her blog. She used to write hit pieces about me. Lucky enough, WordPress took her blog away. But she was hanging out with the far right, and I said this is going to happen more often with TERFs. And well, I'm right. I mean, Posey Parker hangs out with Norwegian Nazis.
Yeah, they always do. I mean,
and of course, you I take it you've heard the latest craziness from Posey Parker, haven't you?
Is this the one where she wants men to actively go with guns and stand outside toilets?
No, she wants them in the toilets.
Oh, in the toilet, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the group of people who actually do rape women. Yeah. She wants them with guns in toilets. You are a fucking lunatic.
Yeah, because she feels uncomfortable that trans women, who she thinks are men, using the toilets. I mean, well, we never say that bigots make any sense. I mean, the thing is, I often worry about me and Ozma making the jokes we do about anti-Semitism. But the reason we make those jokes, we are perfectly aware where anti-Semitism leads. You don't need to tell me. I'm very well aware. But when you have Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about fucking space lasers, and it's like,
yeah, how did you get hold of those plans?
I know.
I'm going to have to have a word with Mr. Soros, praise be upon him, and we're going to have to come to some sort of do a leak inquiry. Who gave us them our plans?
Well, the thing is, immediately when I thought of that, I thought of Mel Gibson. Not Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson is a fucking anti-Semite. Mel Brooks's sketch from History of the World Part 1, Jews in Space. That's immediately my immediate thought.
That's fair enough, yeah.
But I mean, me and Ozma, we sit, we make jokes about the fact that she got a new skin suit last November with boobs to cover up her reptilian true self, and stuff like that. Because the absurdities that these people come out with, whether it be David Icke or Alex Jones, it's just fucking absurd. And the other thing is, people need to be aware, Alex Jones is an anti-Semite. When he said globalist, that's just him substituting a word for Jew.
Yeah, because ask these people to name globalists.
Yeah, it's Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, George Soros. Oh, they all happen to be Jewish.
They might reel off a name of, say, 10 people, at least 8 of which will be Jewish. It's not a coincidence. They know what they're doing. They have to rebrand every few decades to try and hide the fact that what they're talking about, but they can't necessarily say the Zog machine anymore, but they can say globalists, and it's the same fucking deal.
Well, the other one, which I'm trying to make people aware of, is when Nigel Farage goes on television and says, "Hey, Black Lives Matter is Marxist." That is an anti-Semitic dog whistle. He's not talking about Marxism in the economic sense. He's talking about cultural Marxism, which is an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory.
Yes, I think that's actually a good spot. Yes.
Well, the other week, Richard Tice him of the Brexit Party.
Oh, that prick, yeah.
Yeah, right. He was on he was on Politics Live, right? Bollocking on about cultural Marxism. Now, Asaka from Novara Media was on, and
Who's badass?
yeah, and who you nearly got to interview one time.
Very nearly, but she got too big too quickly, and she just escaped my grasp. Which sounds slightly stalkery, but I mean that in just a purely internet interview sense.
Yeah. Well, anyways, she picked up on it, right? And picked up, she knows exactly what cultural Marxism is, right? What was a little disappointing was Joe Coburn, who is the presenter of Politics Live, did not pick up on it. And she should have, because Joe Coburn's Jewish.
Is she Jewish?
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah. Oh, pardon me. Yeah, they should pick up on that. But to be honest with you, and this happened with, do you remember Change UK? When they shortened down, it became Cuck, and the internet was like, "Oh, that's hilarious! They've called themselves Cuck." Most people don't pick up on that because it's internet stuff. And I know cultural Marxism goes beyond that, but in terms of the dog whistle of saying cultural Marxism and meaning, the Jews, basically, I think that's more of an internet type meme that I think people in the sort of London media chattering classes wouldn't necessarily pick up on.
Well, I mean, not in this country, but I mean, Pat Buchanan's been banging on about cultural Marxism for fucking decades.
That's true, yeah. I mean,
also Peter Hitchens, of all people.
Oh, has he been doing that as well? Oh, what a shitbag. Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, I guess it doesn't surprise me.
Well, there's no doubt he's like a right-wing twat, but I always gave him a little scintilla of credit for just being at least an intelligent twat.
Yeah.
But if he's going to start doing all that, I mean, that's poor form.
I was going to say, but as for social media and trans people, and I would like your opinion about this. So, a couple of years ago, I got invited to an activist meeting. I don't get invited to all activist meetings. Believe me, if Rosa Dornover did one of her pillars of the community videos on me, I'd laugh at it, because believe me, there's a lot of trans people who really don't like the way I carry on. Okay? So anyways, I got invited to an activist meeting, and they were talking about the media.
Okay.
And they were talking about the media in a very sort of middle class way. What I mean by this is they were talking about, we need to get, well written pieces in the Guardian and the Independent. Okay, I see why. The thinking is that these are the papers which politicians read, the broadsheets. I get it, right? And the politicians make the laws. But the thing is, not everyone obeys the laws, right? And a lot of middle class, the trans community isn't exclusively white, middle class, university educated professionals, but there's that, I would say, that is the largest demographic within the trans community. Okay. And these are the people who can actually dodge a lot of abuse simply by, they can get in the car and drive down the street. Me, I can't do that, right? I mean, even if I was financially able to, I wouldn't be able to physically due to various disabilities. So I have to walk down the street, and I will get abused, particularly every time I walk past the Wetherspoons pub when they're open. And so, and I say those are the kind of people who don't read the broadsheets. What they do is they watch YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Right? And when I sort of brought this up, I pointed out, I said, look, Paul Joseph Watson, I think he's lost some subscribers the last time I looked, but he had at that point 1.9 million subscribers. I said that is the combined circulation of all the broadsheets and then some, right? Now that's who it's getting to. Now, granted, I would imagine that most of the people who subscribe to Paul Joseph Watson live in the Midwest of the United States, okay?
And are simpletons.
Yeah. But the point is, there are others, right?
Yeah.
And they are getting more subscribers than the fucking broadsheets do, and they're getting transphobic ideas from those people. They just weren't interested. They just were not fucking interested.
Yeah, that doesn't enormously surprise me, to be honest. Yeah, I think a lot of people see these things don't see them around the bend and get hit by them when it's too late. Either too late to mitigate or stop the thing completely. Not too late, as in it can't be stopped at all. Just and then they're surprised by these social movements. Partly because in many cases, those who are middle class don't suffer the consequences particularly.
Well, this is what I was going to say. I remember last year someone said to me, "Oh, have you heard of ContraPoints?" I went, "Where the fuck have you been?" And the other week, of course, Abigail Ford came out, and it was like some trans woman older than me and a bit more cynical went, "Who the fuck are they?" And I went,
"Well, that's the thing. You've got to bear in mind, we to a degree exist on YouTube, but a lot of people don't give a fuck. Like even." And it's heartening in a way because YouTube is a cesspool of scum, but even like PewDiePie or someone like that is not a celebrity. No one outside of the internet. Like you got to bear in mind, even if you've got say 50 million subscribers, that's spread across the entire world. That's really nothing.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I definitely don't want to do in my channel, and I will accuse you of this slightly.
Go on then.
Is get involved in YouTube drama.
Oh yeah, no, I do drama. Yeah, I'll absolutely take that moniker on. Yeah, because I kind of enjoy it, and I think a lot of people watch it. So but they enjoy it, and okay, that's nice. That's fine. That meets the criteria that I can be bothered with. So, and I try not to get too involved in it too often anymore, but I occasionally dip my toes in. Yeah.
Well, no, I'll give you an example here. I don't want to be nasty to you or anything, but
no, go for it, man. You don't have to fear offending me. Jesus.
No, you're my friend, and you've always been really supportive, and I don't want to piss you off, mate.
No, go on. Seriously, I won't be offended or upset by it.
No, you can't say that. I'll do the Pulp Fiction line, but yeah, no, it's when Sargon, after he miserably failed at the European elections, fishy. I still think that's funny.
Yeah,
yeah. He went abroad, didn't he? And he posted a video about how he was going to rid this country of socialism.
Yes, I remember that.
In the next 20 years, and he's sitting there pouring himself a cup of tea with a fucking palm tree. In the background, is that very English for you, Carl?
Well, there's nothing like someone supporting the British economy by going on holiday abroad.
Yeah. Well, anyways, so I don't know how long that video was. I think it was about an hour. You did a 4 fucking hour video on it, and I just thought, I just thought, fuck, Kev, you're giving him more fucking publicity than he's given himself.
Probably, but again, I look at it this way. Yes, it is publicity, of course, but it's a mutual thing because I've been on his channel several times as well, and trust me, I've gotten far more traction from him than he ever has from me. And secondly, I really enjoy that, and I do my channel primarily because I enjoy doing that. Like, if I didn't want to, if I felt that was a stupid thing to do, I wouldn't bother with it. But for me, it's a lot of fun to sit there and rip him apart for 4 hours. I'm fine with that.
No, that was just my thought. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think you should respond to the shit he says because it is dangerous. I mean, I was talking about the Englishness thing. When he was talking about that, I had a very, very horrid feeling that if you allow Carl anywhere near government, he'd be drawing up Nuremberg-type laws.
I'm not sure Carl specifically would. The reason I find Carl dangerous is not because I think he's necessarily a Nazi, but he's a gateway through which Nazis could gain power. If he got into power, he wouldn't be writing those laws. Someone else would, and he'd just be defending them.
No, but he's a nationalist. And
he is definitely a nationalist, yeah.
Even though he's also an individualist.
Yeah, which is a bit collectivist, but he's not a collectivist, but he's a bit collectivist.
I'll have to tell you this joke, right?
Go on then.
So Adam Curtis has got a new documentary series out, right?
Right.
Take it you know who Adam Curtis is?
I have no idea.
He made the documentary series Power of Nightmares, which was about how neocons and radical Islam fed off one another.
Okay.
And Century of Self, which was about Edward Bernays. He's he's made various documentary series, and most of which I've enjoyed. He's got a new one out, and it reminded me of a joke a friend of mine said about him. He did a documentary parodying Ayn Rand.
Right.
And my friend said, you don't need a documentary to parody Ayn Rand.
She parodies herself.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely true. I mean, I've never told you this, but I've mainly been on the left most of my life. I've always been fiercely anti-racist, right?
Mm.
Particularly because of my background, I was ashamed that I benefited. I didn't have any choice about it. I was a kid, but I have been ashamed that I'm a white South African who did benefit from the apartheid regime, and mostly left. I've mostly been lefty. However, I got a bit lost in the noughties, mainly because I didn't like the Blair government.
Right.
I thought put it like this: the local Liberal Democrat councillor said to me, "I've got nothing against lesbian and gay people, just so long as they don't live next door to me."
Because that's how you get the AIDS, is living next door.
Well, I guess that's. I guess she's a fan of Tim Farron, so.
Yeah. What a dipshit.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
really.
Yeah, well, whatever. So, I was an habitual pot smoker at the time. I still am, right? And, well, I think you'll know what's coming. I fell down the libertarian rabbit hole.
Of course you did. Did you ever buy Bitcoin?
No, I actually got out of libertarianism just as that became a thing.
Oh, okay.
Well, no,
Oh, yeah, because we're going back 10, 15 years, yeah.
Yeah, it was not long after 9/11, and I mean, it was actually weirdly, it was me not dealing with my gender dysphoria, because at the time I just didn't have the confidence to deal with it. I mean, when you have this is the reason why true scummers are so fucking, dangerous, because essentially they're going around pissing on other trans women, and dissuading them from coming out. That they basically that they're crapping on their confidence, and that's what happened to me, right? And I needed something to fit. Basically, I needed something to distract me from gender dysphoria, and ironically, that turned out to be libertarianism.
Right.
So I am very familiar with Ayn Rand. I'm very familiar with Hayek. I'm very familiar with Milton Friedman and Rothbard. And yes, libertarianism is a cult. It is a cult. And it was actually Natasha Kennedy, because I did transition, and I actually had cut myself off from the trans community when I did so, because I kind of felt I got burnt the first time. When I did transition, I was still a bit lost, and it was actually Natasha Kennedy, who of course is a lecturer at Goldsmiths College, who deprogrammed me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she did literally have to deprogram me. So I know what it's like to be in a cult. This is, it's when I see the QAnon shaman, and his lawyers saying, "Oh, this is like Jamestown. I can't even remember if it was Jonestown or Jamestown."
Jonestown.
Yeah, it was Jonestown. It was Jim Jones? That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Jamestown was the Roanoke colony type place in the early Americas or something.
No, yeah, Jonestown, the Jonestown massacre.
Yeah.
And you hear his lawyers say, "Oh, it's a bit like Jonestown." The trouble is, I'm in two minds with the QAnon shaman. It's like, is he just saying this as a means of mitigation so you get a lighter sentence? Or is it genuine? Certainly these MAGA people, I think some of them have been brainwashed. But one clue to how brainwashed I think they were is actually when the QAnon shaman came out of the Capitol building, a reporter actually asked them, "Why did you come out?" And they said, "Because Trump said go home."
Oh, okay.
Now, to me, that's a very cult-like thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and you know, um, excuse me.
That's fine.
So yeah, I've been in a cult myself, so I know what it's like. And I'm ashamed to admit it. You know, as someone as intelligent as myself got taken in by stuff, but it can happen to you for various reasons.
Oh yeah, it's not a remotely an intelligence thing. It's searching for often actually it can be quite intelligent people who do get taken in because you're looking for an answer to a thing, but you're just looking at it from a slightly blinkered perspective in the sense that you want to belong to a thing, and I think you can be suckered into that, especially if you've got low confidence, low self-esteem, quite easily.
So, how do you think Biden's doing?
It's okay for a lib.
He's surpassed my expectations. Actually, obviously, I knew he was going to do all the LGBTQ stuff. I mean, as I said to you on the last stream we were on, he was going to get wanker's cramp from signing all the executive orders.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's all through the prism of he's a liberal, he's a centrist, so he's not going to do what I want him to do. But given what we know he has been throughout his entire career, and how shit the last 4 years have been, yeah, he's done a pretty damn good job. I can't say that he's done a great deal I did disagree with enormously or anything.
However, he's gone past my expectations. He has suspended arms sales to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that's actually really good. Yeah.
I was
sort of doing a genocide.
Well, I thought I was really surprised, and it embarrasses the fuck out of the British government who just love, our arms dealers selling shit to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, oh yeah, they fucking they love all that. The British government, I mean, they're fucking doing a kind of passive genocide of their own fucking population right now. So the idea that they would give two fucks about the people of Yemen or anywhere else, for that matter, is a little farcical. Yeah, they're going to continue to sell arms because the British government are inhuman garbage.
But one final thing I was going to say is on Biden is I've seen one thing I really think they should drop, and that's the extradition of Julian Assange. Biden seems to be pursuing that.
Well, he's a centrist establishment dude. He's not going to drop that. But I mean, it's not going to happen now. The British government have said no, so it's sort of the end of it, really. Or the British courts have said no.
Right.
And the British really should just release him at this point. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying Julian Assange is all good, but
no, Julian Assange as a person is a fucking prick, but he shouldn't be in jail. That's a bit much.
Well,
or at least he should be in jail in Sweden for rape, but he shouldn't be in British jail for being annoying to the British government or the American government.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, I remember the thing with Chelsea Manning, and I do remember, and I will criticise some trans people for this. I supported Chelsea Manning from the off, right?
Yeah.
I saw the collateral murder video the day it was released.
Yeah.
And, that's a war crime, right? And, Manning exposed a war crime and should get a fucking medal for that, not have been thrown in jail, right? Now, it was a fairly open secret they were trans. And I remember Peter Tatchell, yes, that Peter Tatchell told me to shut up about it, right? Yeah, he did. He literally told me to shut up about it. Right?
What?
So
Why?
Right. It was to do with the court martial. That if it had come out that they were trans, they could have faced extra punishment.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't think at that point trans people were allowed to serve in the military.
Okay. Well, that makes sense, I suppose.
So. He, I mean, this is before Obama got on board with the whole LGBT equality stuff. It was an open secret. But when he came out, all these trans people said, I support them, I support them. I said, where have you been for the last 2 fucking years?
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. But I mean, again, it's a lot of the people. who don't see it coming, if that makes sense. Like they not necessarily they're behind the curve, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah. That's true. I mean, no, I mean, the trouble is a lot of people say, a lot of people don't. I mean, for calling out the trans community when they get stuff wrong, and I kind of say, well, look, I'm no Rosa Dawn, I'm no Blair White, I'm not throwing trans people under the bus. I'm just saying that the trans community could do better. I mean, there is an issue, and we all know there is an issue within the trans community of a lack of intersectionality. I mean, I've literally had a trans woman say to me, "The Holocaust didn't happen."
Oh wow, that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've had another. I had another trans woman dispute the figures of the Holocaust. Will you just shut the fuck up?
Oh,
You know,
God.
it's because that particular trans woman had fallen down the Alex Jones rabbit hole. The and stuff like that. And I've had ableism from within the trans community as well, which I
Yeah.
will explore all on my channel at some point. But the the point is, I kind of feel, look, if trans people want justice, and they deserve justice, right? They deserve greater social justice and they deserve greater equality, right? Then they're going to have to be tolerant of other minorities wanting social justice and equality as well, or at least supportive.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. They're going to need. I agree completely. Yeah, solidarity with all people who are seeking justice. Yeah.
Now, one final thing before we go, we're going to bring up the topic of Israel again because I need to mention this.
Oh, so you're going uncontroversial to end. Good, good.
I was going to say is right. People say that it's racist to say that Israel is running an apartheid regime.
Yeah.
No, they are running an apartheid regime. Let me explain. Here's a little example in comparison to apartheid in South Africa. So, there is a law in Israel that if a Jewish person is on a ward with a Palestinian in a hospital, they can ask the Palestinian to be removed. Right. In South Africa, during apartheid, there was this place called Sun City. Well, still there,
Yeah.
but right now, Queen, a band I hate anyways, but went and played Sun City, and Brian May, the guitarist, is still to this day defends them doing so. Right, and he says, "Well, we didn't play to segregated audiences." True, that Sun City wasn't segregated. However, the law was, if white people didn't like black people being in the audience, they could ask the black people to leave.
Oh wow. Did that ever happen?
It used to happen in some restaurants which were designated as unsegregated areas.
Fuck's sake. That's
Yeah.
a real shame.
All right, well, it's lovely talking to you, Kev. We'll have a bit of a chat afterwards because I've got something to ask you.
Cool.
Right, folks, if you like this video, please give it a like, please give it a share, please drop a comment down below to give us some feedback, and most important of all, please subscribe to my channel.
But don't subscribe to mine.
Oh, fuck. Sorry.
No, don't do it.
What?
No, I'm only joking. Go on. I'm only playing.
I thought you were offended that I didn't mention you.
Oh no. I was literally just doing a joke of don't subscribe to my channel.
All right,
That's-
okay.
I do it on every stream. It's a self-deprecation thing, I think.
Right, well, okay, well, look, folks, Kev's social media links are down below.
But don't click on them.
Right. So, again, if you like this video, please give it a like. Please share it. If you want to give any feedback, please don't hesitate. Drop a comment down below. And most important,
But if you criticise me, I will ignore it.
but most important of all, please subscribe. Okay, I will be back on Monday with the news roundup. You take cares of yourselves, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Thanks. Peace out.